Too bad the nickname King Kong Bundy was already taken.
Eat it. All right, whatever. So let's go into the NFL. What do you got, Mr. Mole?
All right, we're in the playoffs. They have begun.
We're in the playoffs.
We are.
Playoffs? You talking playoffs? Playoffs.
The playoffs are in full swing. Wild card weekend's underway. Um, two games we had today, both upsets. First game was
How can you call the first game an upset when you called it?
that one I did call. My second pick was horrible, but I know we didn't get the podcast before, but we posted it up on the Facebook page, or you did, or one of our interns.
Yeah, it was an intern.
That I picked the actually picked the Seahawks by 6, and they won by 5, so that's pretty close.
However, if you would have given somebody 6 points, you would have lost the bet.
Right, but still, I'm close.
Close.
Well, what's amazing me is all the announcers were, I'm shocked, I don't believe it. And I'm talking to the TV while this is going on. It's like, how can you be shocked?
Well,
I predicted it.
Well, and the thing is that no one was giving us credit. No one was saying Tubby and the Mole predicted this. You know, we weren't getting our due.
That's right.
We're not getting props from. You know what it is? It's the bigwigs in the sports, announcing and analyst society. They're not giving us our due, man.
Yeah, those entitled elite punks don't want to.
You know what?
Recognize.
That's cool. That's cool. Cause I got nothing clever, man. That just sucks, dude. I'm heartbroken.
I mean, really, like my football pool this year that I won.
You won.
That I won. I finished with a winning percentage of over 600.
Over 600. That is a decent winning percentage.
Yeah.
Now, what do you get for winning this football pool?
A few $100.
What are you gonna do with that money?
I was thinking about buying some new Air Jordans.
Some new Air Jordans. Are you gonna?
Well, my first pair. I mean, my first pair of Air
Wow,
Jordans
you're gonna break your Jordan cherry.
Basically.
Nice. That's sexy. That's hot.
Like the Seahawks, they hit the field and they punched New Orleans in the face, and the hardest punch they threw was from Mr. Lynch.
That Marshawn Lynch, single-handedly, the greatest run by a running back I have ever seen in my life.
There's been some good runs by the great backs like Walter Payton, Jim
Barry
Brown,
Sanders.
But this run by Lynch, top 10, no doubt, top 10, possibly top 5 for sure. He punked half of the New Orleans defense, at least half, and then he turned one dude into a little crying girl on the ground.
He was hitting so many people violently. I remember telling you this during the game, that Jim Brown must be watching and was like, that dude is brutal. I'm not going to beat my wife tonight because there's too much violence going on in the TV.
The last guy that he stiffed arm, even Lynch was shocked that he did it because he kind of stopped.
Did you see Lynch stop and apologize for a second and then realize he had to play?
He stopped and looked back at the New Orleans defender and said, you really going to chase me after I just did that?
Well, the best part is that Marshawn Lynch did not want to let go of the ball afterwards.
Oh yeah, I think he held on to the ball for the. There was 2 balls on the field at one time, and they're like, Marshawn, you gotta put that ball down.
He held on to the ball until it was Seattle's time to take their offense to take the field again, and I honestly thought he was just gonna hide his ball under the jersey, so that no one else would take it.
I got to give him credit. You know, the guy was a beast a couple years ago in Buffalo, and he's got his due today. That was an outstanding run.
It was a 67-yard run, and he earned every single yard.
Oh no, he did, because the initial contact was made behind the line of scrimmage. That's where his first broken tackle was. I think he broke 5 or 6 tackles with one complete punk straight arm, knocking the defender on his butt.
You gotta feel bad if you. I don't have that. Our interns didn't get that defender's name, but you gotta hope that your jersey number wasn't easily seen or that your name, because you're gonna be on a poster.
Well,
Like I know you were saying if you were Marshawn Lynch, you would have that continuously playing on a loop. On flat screens whenever someone.
I would have a flat screen when you come in my house. That would be playing with some kind of violent rap music in the background.
It was vicious, but that was Seattle all day. Their offense was just punking out New Orleans defense. New Orleans offense kind of woke up towards the end and made a game of it, but I mean Seattle just trudged through. And the funny part to me is that Seattle is still technically a losing team. Right now they limped into the playoffs at 7-9. Now they're 8-9, and they're gonna go play Atlanta.
Exactly. They'd have to beat Atlanta to be a 500 team.
And that's a tall order. But how many people were betting that they were gonna beat the reigning champs? Because the odds in Vegas were 100 to 1
to go to the Super Bowl.
101 to win the Super Bowl.
To win the Super Bowl.
Which that right there. If you guys are anywhere close to a sports book, that's a $10 bet you got to throw down.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely.
So. But hats off to Seattle. Hats off. Hasselbeck had a career game.
And I got to give it to the 12th man in Seattle.
Oh, well, and we were talking about this. So I learned that at Quest Field, they were selling beers. They sell a 20-ounce and a 16-ounce. Turns out the cups are a little different. The 16-ounce cups actually hold 20 ounces. So anybody that bought a 16-ounce cup of beer was getting a 20-ounce. I agree with you, what you were saying earlier. I think they're doing that on purpose to get the 12th man drunk.
Well, hey, get them drunk and then make that... cup have a removable bottom and it becomes a little megaphone.
It was impressive. I can't say that the same is going to happen when they roll into Atlanta, but you know what? I did not give them that much of a chance to beat New Orleans like they did. So anything's possible. You have one bad game, and this isn't like baseball. It's not like basketball where you're playing in a 5 or 7 game series. You have one bad game and you're out.
Well, I called it, so I did see it. New Orleans coming to play outside. They came into the playoffs off of a loss. That's a very telltale bad sign for a team to come in without momentum. They're going to play outside. They're an indoor team. It had an upset all written all over it.
Now, what I hated was this skanky reporter chick at the end asking Hasselbeck, you know, what did you guys think that, you know, you'd have a chance being the underdogs? And, you know, it's just a rude question to ask.
I agree. It's like she asked, how big of an upset is this?
How big of an upset?
And Pete Carroll had already talked to Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll said, hey, we expected to win. And she was dorky enough to go, Pete Carroll, you heard it all year. The champs are coming to town. Well, no, they just were coming for a week.
They just found out last week.
They just found out last week that the champs are coming. So she says that, and then she says a stupid question to Hasselbeck. Do you think it's a big? These guys aren't gonna answer that. They're not gonna say it's a big upset, because then that's acknowledging that they went in with like, we're probably gonna lose, but maybe we'll pull one off.
Right.
It's stupid reporting. It's just lob up something that they can hit. You know what sports players are not going to answer controversial stuff, but lob them up something like, say, how big of a factor was the crowd today? How big of a factor was the home field advantage? Something where they can lob up and hit one and sound good.
Well, and that just shows that not everybody has the sports wherewithal as we do. I think we should be the sideline reporters, because I'd be like, bro, did you see Marshawn Lynch? He wrecked that dude, man.
I mean, like, Matt, does Marshawn put that ball down, bro?
I'd be like, hey, Matt, can you get Marshawn to come over here?
And I'd be like, okay, Pete Carroll, more exciting, national championship win or playoff win like this at home against the
See,
defending
now
champs.
that's a good question. That
Right.
doesn't take away from his USC championships, and it doesn't take away from this. You know, he's going to answer
Right.
that it's this playoff win.
It's,
you know, it's insane.
different and blah 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 blah.
So,
or I say, hey, what's the difference? Do you see Trojan fans or Seahawks fans right now? Come on, just lob up something that they can get excited about answering.
now that game was that was exciting. It was going back and forth, but I think the real upset. I just don't think anybody saw Indy getting work like they did.
No, that my pick was definitely I'd given Indy, and I picked Indy in a rout at least by 12 and
Actually, you said 13.
12-13. It didn't happen. I really thought it was gonna break open when Peyton hit that guy in stride, and that was a sick Peyton Manning pass. And I thought because the game had initially been kind of like a back and forth punt fest, and then I thought Indy was just gonna crack it open right there.
Well, and that's the thing. The Jets were coming back, and Sanchez was making some good throws, but the real play of the game was LT.
Well, yeah, suck it, San Diego fans.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another feature of the Tubby the Mall podcast. This is called Donnie Hates the San Diego Chargers. This is for all you Charger fans out there. Here comes Donnie with his message for the San Diego fans.
Now, while I do not agree that LT left the Chargers correctly, he didn't go out with class, but he is, and he did this year, and is still sticking it to you guys.
Well, I think the best part was you saw with LT is that in the game you saw that the guy can still be explosive.
That's right.
You get that guy in an open field, he's gonna run faster than half your defense.
He still has some gas in the tank.
You betcha.
And you know it when he left the team, it was just handled wrong. The Chargers should have handled it differently. And now they went and they made a big deal about Ryan Matthews, but not so much. LT's still a better back this year.
Yep. But all things considered, the Jets, they put more points on the board, and that's what matters in the end. Indy, they weren't having their greatest of years. At one point, they were 6-6.
That's right.
People were wondering if they were going to get in there, and then they end up winning, the division in the AFC. It's tough because a guy like Peyton Manning deserves to be, in the playoffs every year. The guy's a gamer. The guy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's going to get paid this offseason. So it's, I'm not feeling too bad for Peyton. He's got a ring. I feel bad that his retarded brother has the same amount of rings as he does.
Well, they always want to do things to help the dum-dums and the window lickers feel.
The window lickers. Where the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Well, the only thing that Peyton, thank goodness he has a ring, because you know what? He almost had that kind of Marino syndrome where it's like, great passer. The guy deserves to have a handful of rings. He does. There's no doubt about it. It's just, it's not in the cards. But at least he's got one ring, and that's enough pedigree to get you easily into the hall.
Well, now we've got 2 games coming up tomorrow. The first game, it's not going to be the most entertaining game. I mean, any game can be entertaining, but it's not the most exciting game on paper. You got the Ravens going into Kansas City.
It's probably going to be, I would say, more of a running, maybe defensive fight. The Ravens they have the defense that can score. They have a defense that can shut people down, and they get into fist fights. Essentially, it's a dog fight. Oh no, that would be the Eagles game.
That's the Eagles game. No, the Ravens game is it could be a
shootout.
It could be a murderous rout.
Yeah, it could be murderous.
You have Ray Lewis and Dante Stallworth,
both killers.
Literally,
they've murdered.
Dude, I wonder if, how like when they're all hanging out on the team playing, and how we're just like, dude, I could kill you. I'd kill you if you touch the rest of my pizza. I mean that when people touch my pizza. I love Roundtable. Roundtable, if you're listening, we would like you to sponsor us just for free pizza. We don't need money. But if you're playing with Dante Stallworth and he's like, man, I'll kill you if you touch my pizza, you have to watch out because Dante Stallworth has killed somebody.
It's quite possible he'll kill you.
But again, if Dante Stallworth and Ray Lewis get upset at each other people may die.
But see, the thing is like Ray Lewis can kill you readily right away. Dante Stallworth has to get drunk and get in a car.
He has to get drunk, get behind the wheel. There's a process of what he can do.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis can just rip you apart with bare hands.
Or pull a gun out of his waistband and shoot you.
I'm willing to bet the only guns he needs are the ones on his arms.
More than likely. But what you're going to have here is Kansas City, again, coming into the playoffs off from a loss. The Raiders proved that they could run the ball against Kansas City. You'll have Rice is playing well, running the ball well for Baltimore. You're going to have Baltimore that can shut people down, that can turn it into a grudge match, and where it's going to be a ground and pound run game. And I think Baltimore's going to win this one.
I got Baltimore by 3.
And I'll agree with that.
Okay. Next game should be a very exciting game. It looks exciting on paper. We got the Packers of Green Bay going in and just trying to tear apart Michael Vick and the Eagles.
Correct. This one I see you've got the dog killer. Wouldn't that be better than the dog whisperer? The dog killer.
Michael Vick, I'm having a problem with my dog. I could take care of it.
My dog doesn't seem to be aggressive enough, Michael. Can you help?
I could take care of it.
What you've got is you got the Packers coming in against the Eagles. The Eagles, again, not playing well coming into the playoffs. Supposedly Michael Vick is healthy now. Now, Michael Vick, his numbers have kind of fallen off the last 2 games. It looks like a kind of a resurgence where the complaints were coming from late in his time with Atlanta. There was some turnover issues. I still think people are going to make the call for Tom Brady to be the MVP of this season. I still think Michael Vick is the MVP. Now, hear me out. Brady's done great things, but that's kind of like the team, the system. I'm gonna bite off of Rex Ryan a little bit. Is Brady's part of the Belichick system? He's a great quarterback in a great system. Michael Vick is so important to that team. He turned that team around and changed the Eagles completely. I think he's a more valuable player in that aspect. He's more valuable to the team than Tom Brady may be to the Patriots, if that makes sense.
But it all depends on the voters.
Right.
That's what it all boils down to.
So, but that aside, I think you have Green Bay just coming in to the playoffs energized. You've got Aaron Rodgers right now. I think he's the most pure passer in the NFL right now. And I say this because the 49ers should have got him. And I'm still upset about that.
I can tell you're still bitter. So who are you going with in this game?
I'm taking Green Bay by 3.
I'm taking Philly by 5.
Okie dokie.
Now, I'll bet you $1. Just heads up.
Okay, $1.
$1. Got it. Man, why are your hands so sweaty?
That's the sweat from your hands
leaking
back onto you.
Oh, my bad. That's gross. That's gross.
It is gross.
Also, in football news, we have Vince Young is going to be without a team after February 5th.
Right, and he'll probably have a job shortly after the season ends.
Well, and there's a lot of teams out there that are going to be needing quarterbacks, which even though, and we were looking, he doesn't have the greatest career numbers.
Yeah, that's kind of a compliment. He's got crappy numbers.
He does not have, the last 2 years were not that bad. He was going through his issues. Now, yes, there's a little, favoritism because he went to Texas. I do dig the Longhorns football program.
Fandom.
It is. But the thing is that he will be an upgrade over quarterbacks for at least 5 or 6 teams that are out there looking for quarterbacks.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's going to be definitely well sought after. Minnesota, I'm sure, will express interest. I'm sure the 49ers are going to express interest.
Miami might express interest. There's a lot of different teams.
There's teams out there that are, especially Carolina now. Carolina, there's going to be a problem now with Luck staying. Luck decided to stay in college one more year. So Vince Young will have a job. Is he the best quarterback out there? Not right now. Not at all. No. But it'll be interesting to see how much money he makes. That's what I'll be interested to see.
I like Vince Young, but I will agree that he's not he's not a top tier quarterback. He's not even the top half of quarterbacks in the NFL. But he's an upgrade over certain teams' quarterbacks.
No, he needs to go to a team he needs to go to a team that is just missing a quarterback. What team out there is just missing a quarterback?
San Francisco.
So you know what? I'm not a big fan of Vince Young, but he could be a good fit in San Francisco because that's all San Francisco needs is a decent quarterback. Could he be a decent quarterback? Sure.
Right.
We'll see what he gets paid. My advice to Vince Young is call Scott Boras.
Call Scott Boras, man. Call him up. Call up
Sith Lord Boris.
Call Darth Boris. Speaking of the Niners, you got to be stoked that they now have a coach. Nobody thought they were going to go coachless, but you had a list of coaches that you wanted, that you were hoping to see suit up for the Niners.
Right.
It was Chucky.
Chucky was my first choice.
Chucky was your first. John Gruden was your first choice. You had Bill Cowher. And then you had Mike Holmgren.
Correct.
None of those. It ends up being Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
Coming out of Stanford, staying in the Bay Area, which is nice because you've moved, I've moved. That's a big hassle.
No, it is.
At least he gets to stay there. He gets to hang out with his friends.
And I'll give Jed York credit. All right. The other guys, my dream, my wish list, Chucky, Cowher, Holmgren, they really weren't available. They weren't expressing interest. They're always the names that are thrown around of the high profile coaches out there.
Those three coaches are waiting for some reason for Belichick to say, I don't want to coach anymore. Boom, they jump in.
Right.
For a top tier team, for their coach just to say, look, man, I've won, I'm done, let's go. They'll jump in.
Right. They're looking for
a perfect situation.
Perfect situation. They're looking for something else. So for Jed York to go ahead and get probably the best coaching prospect out there right away, snatch him up right away before anyone even had a chance to think about it, kudos to him.
Now, at one point during the season, the Niners are going to go to Baltimore and play the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh is going to be coaching against his brother, John Harbaugh.
Harbaugh and Harbaugh violence.
Harbaugh violence. If you are a Harbaugh brother, do you have your quarterback chuck a pass in that direction?
Sure, why not?
Or just have like one of your linemen run into him or something like that?
Or just have one of my gunners on a punt just run over and
just nail him.
Deck him.
Nail him. Or run close enough to him and act like he got tripped.
Because one of the Harbaughs at one time or another in the Harbaugh home when they were growing up, someone gave someone a wedgie or a noogie that they didn't care for, and it's payback time.
It's going to be on. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see more of that. There's a lot of relatives. You never saw Rondé Barber put a mean hit on Tiki Barber.
Right.
And everybody waited for that. It's not like the Manning brothers because they both play offense. Rondé plays defense and Tiki played offense. They had to hit each other.
I know that if you were coaching across from me, I'd send a sweep at you.
I would too. I just wonder, I have a theory as to why Rondé and Tiki never actually, clashed against each other and hit.
Because they're the same person.
No, close. I believe that they're the twins like the twins in G.I. Joe.
They feel each other's pain.
Tomas and Samont. Yeah. I believe that if they hit each other, they both just get double the pain.
It would amplify. It would be like, when you take two phones and you switch them so that the ears go in. And it just reverberates. Hello, 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 hello.
It would be brutal. The space time continuum would open up.
A never ending circle of pain. It's a circle. It goes around. It doesn't stop. It's not a square.
You are watching. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry a little too much for my taste.
Kiss husband.
Kiss the husband. For personal space.
I leave key in room just in case.
So, but you know what? The thing is, I feel it's an upgrade. Mike Singletary would make a great linebackers coach. He would make a great defensive coordinator. But Mike Singletary does not have the offensive mind to run a football team.
Well, you have to look at what Harbaugh did at Stanford. He went to Stanford. Stanford was a losing program. And in 4 years, he turned it around and actually to get an Orange Bowl win is pretty impressive.
12-1 and an Orange Bowl win, and you've groomed a quarterback who everybody is salivating over.
And they had one bad game against Oregon. One bad game against Oregon, or they'd be playing for national championship.
And here's the thing:
tomorrow.
It's not like they had one bad game against Delaware State. They had a bad game against a team that's in the national championship game.
Exactly.
Which is going to be played on Monday. You still got Auburn?
Oh, hands down. That's an easy one.
I got Oregon.
Really?
I got Oregon.
Alrighty.
I got Oregon. I don't even like the Ducks, but I don't like Auburn. I just don't. I don't. Charles Barkley went to Auburn, and that makes me think of Auburn, and that's just terrible.
Well, any school that's named after a color.
Auburn is a color?
Auburn brown.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You just learned something on Tubby and the Mole because I just learned something on Tubby and the Mole.
All about colors.
Wow, check that out. Did you learn that at Disney's World of Color? Also, I wanted to say Tubby and the Mole. We were at Disneyland last week. You know how normally when you go somewhere like that, you're hoping to see somebody famous. You're hoping to see them like hanging out at Disneyland. Like I was hoping to see some athletes taking their kids during the off season or something like that. I realized that we didn't see anybody famous because we were the famous ones. How many people do you know? We couldn't hear because they were like whispering. How many people like were probably like, "There's Tubby in the Mall"?
Yeah, we're so famous they were scared to come up and talk to us.
Well, it's kind of like
it's intimidating.
It's intimidating for other people. I just want you guys to know out there, like, approach us. We're cool. We're cool. Don't talk to me while I'm eating. I hate when they do that. Like, can I have your autograph?
No one's gonna hear when you're eating. Nom 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 nom.
Sometimes that hurts. Sometimes that hurts. And I wish diseases on you. Sometimes I wish that mole was cancerous. And I'm not taking that back. Have you ever had that tested? I bet it's a huge tumor on the side of your face.
It's not a tumor.
All right, so enough for the NFL. Unless you got anything else for the No Fun League?
Nope.
No fun. All right, we're moving on to baseball. We got the Hall of Fame. Roberto, I will spit in an umpire's face if he disagrees with me, Alomar. And Burt Blyleven get in. But sadly, Barry Larkin was left out. Barry Larkin.
But so was Benito Santiago, so he's in good company.
So was here. You know, it always amazes me some of the people that are left out. But it amazes me more the people that get voted for at times, and we'll talk about that in a second. But real quick, Alomar, totally deserving.
Right.
2-time world champion, 10-time Gold Glove.
Absolutely.
Fantastic hitter, one of the best hitting second basemen in baseball.
Right.
Burt Blyleven, the guy, oh man, the shutouts like all get out, complete games, you know, thousands of strikeouts. This guy was a complete pitcher. What's sad is that it took him this long to get in.
Well, yeah, but he comes from a different pitching era. He comes from a pitching era when complete games was a stat. That's not a stat anymore. It's
not a stat anymore because baseball has evolved to a sport where you have your pitcher. If your pitcher gets you into the 6th inning, you consider him a good pitcher.
Right, now you have a quality start stat.
Right. And that's sad. You have a pitcher, then your middle reliever comes in, maybe another middle reliever comes in, then your setup man comes in, and then your closer comes in.
And then you have middle relievers, you have long relief, short relief, setup man, one pitcher, one batter. Teams are carrying, 15 pitchers now?
Yep.
On a 40-man roster?
Well, and that's the sad part. But that brings us, to back to the Hall of Fame voting. Roberto Alomar deserving. Burt Blyleven is deserving. But there's some people that didn't get in, and the big name that sticks out to me is Lee Smith. Lee Smith deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Lee Smith was the all-time saves leader prior to Trevor Hoffman. The guy has a lifetime ERA of 3.03, just over 3. He has a lifetime whip of 1.2, just over 1. The guy has incredible numbers.
And that's the horrible part is that people are keeping him out. And I get it because they're saying it's awfully tough for relievers to get him because the reliever wasn't a real, the closer wasn't like saves weren't even a considered stat for the longest time.
Right.
But that's not against Lee Smith. The guy came in, he did his job, and he did it at the top of the game, and he was playing for subpar teams.
Exactly. The guy pitched over 1,000 innings. What more do you want?
That's the sad part. Other people, you can make an argument for Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly, he's a lifetime 300 hitter, only like 222 home runs, but the guy is like, what was he, 12-time All-Star or something ridiculous?
Gold Glove first baseman.
9 Gold Gloves, two batting titles, an MVP award, an AL MVP award, and his number's been retired by the Yankees.
Which is no small feat.
Exactly. You gotta figure when the Yankees retire a number, these are guys that have retired Babe Ruth's number, Joe DiMaggio number. Dude, they've retired some serious numbers.
Well, Roberto Alomar, he gets 523 votes, which is 90%. You need 75% to get in. So Roberto Alomar has 523 votes. 523 of the Baseball Writers Association of America members decided that Roberto Alomar deserved in. 523. 79 people voted for Don Mattingly.
And that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Here's some people that scored above Don Mattingly. Fred McGriff, 104 votes.
The crime dog.
The crime dog. They're saying the crime dog is a better
overall
baseball player.
Not more deservingly than Mattingly.
Larry Walker, 118 votes.
Who?
Larry Walker.
That's interesting.
Larry Walker. Edgar Martinez. Now that guy, he's a pure DH, 191 votes. But if you're gonna vote Edgar Martinez in, you definitely got to vote in, Don Mattingly. Their numbers are slightly comparable, and the fact is that Don Mattingly played a position. He didn't just hit all day.
But it's the individual achievements with Mattingly. When you have double-digit All-Star appearances, you've got two batting titles, you've got an MVP. You were the best player in the league for a year.
And this person here is the one that strikes me as the most. This person got almost 3 times as many votes as Don Mattingly. Tim Raines, 218 votes.
No.
It's not feasible to me. I get it, Tim Raines is a great player, but there's no way that 2.5 to 3 times the amount of votes that Don Mattingly is going to get.
And what do you think about old Ralphie Palmeiro being confused?
Hey, you know what? Good riddance. Good riddance, because you know what that shows me? That when Barry Bonds comes up in 2013, I'm getting to win this bet that you and I have.
I still think he's going to be first ballot.
Well, we're going to see the 2013 ballot is going to be interesting because it's going to have Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds. But I think Rafael Palmeiro was a good sign right there that these douchebags in the Baseball Writers Association of America, these guys are taking it to heart, which brings us to the Douche Award.
Right.
Jose Canseco, once again, running close. The guy constantly, and we'll talk about him in tweets, the guy constantly tries to make a good showing for the Douche Award, but just like in his career, he normally comes up pretty short. But the Douche Award goes to the Baseball Writers Association of America.
These guys are idiots.
You guys are just big bags of douche.
You guys get this privilege to this vote, and then you guys do the dumbest things with it. You are you're one of the elite baseball writers supposedly in the United States, and you're given John Olerud Hall of Fame 4 Hall of Fame votes.
John Olerud got 4 votes for the Hall of Fame. I get it. He wore a helmet when he fielded the ball because if he gets hit, he gets hurt.
There's kids that wear helmets to eat. I'm not voting for them to go to the Hall of Fame.
John Olerud, his biggest claim to fame besides the helmet was that he made a run at 400 in the strike-shortened season. Who cares?
He has no individual stats that even put him anywhere.
Now, I deserve to know, the one writer of the Baseball Writers Association of America who smoked a joint before because he said, "Bro, I voted for Brett Boone."
I voted for BJ Surhoff.
I mean, here's the thing. Brett Boone got 1 vote. Benito Santiago got 1 vote. I could almost hear an argument for Benito Santiago that he was one of the better fielding catchers of all time, that his offensive numbers didn't go into play.
He kind of put catching on the map when he came up.
He was the guy that was throwing out runners at first base from his knees.
No, that was correct, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
But he's not a Hall of Famer. But I could hear the one person arguing the vote saying that he put catching on the map. He made the defensive side of catching, a big deal.
It was Benito's brother, a writer.
It was Reynito Santiago. I wonder if Benito Santiago is in the Baseball Writers Association of America.
Probably Chad Santiago. Chad Vader.
It was Chad Vader. But it's depressing. Marquise Grissom gets 4 votes. Marquise Grissom.
Right.
Really? Well, so, you know what? Baseball Writers Association of America, screw you, man. You guys suck.
That's it.
That's it. You guys win the Douche Award, but don't come and pick it up because I peed on it.
No, because now you're just not gonna have a vote anymore.
You're not. You don't get a vote. You don't get a vote. You know what we voted? We voted you into the Douche Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you're the first members.
Yeah.
Here's your yellow jacket.
Because it was white, but we peed on it.
Yeah.
Let's get back to regular baseball news because actually that just pisses me off, man. Those guys suck, dude.
No, you're right. The more I think about it, I don't like him at all.
It sucks.
They're the same group of people that says Nolan Ryan doesn't deserve to be a first balloter.
That's just it. And you have all these people. They're either in collusion, which sucks, and they're saying that this person doesn't deserve to be And because they all know who's in the Writers Association. It's not
Exactly.
like
Everyone knows who's got a vote.
this isn't the Skulls. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not that. So the thing is that they're either in collusion or they're all deciding on their own. I'm gonna be the guy that's not gonna let him in, and that's why somebody like Barry Larkin is sitting out with 62% of the vote.
Right.
That's why a guy with like Lee Smith is sitting out with 45%, and Lee Smith is running dangerously close. Dave Parker fell off the list. You have to have less than 5% to get kicked off the list. Dave Parker had 15%, but he's been on the list for the total 15 years.
Right.
Lee Smith is running dangerously close to that.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. It's like you were saying earlier. If they're not in collusion, that's even more scarier because then there's guys going, "Well, I'm not going to be the one that lets him get on. I'm not going to." And then you got guys that like Smith and Parker falls off, and you got Barry Larkin that's being held up because these guys are just pompous idiots. They're like, oh, I've got the key to the hall. No, you're just a douche. Just if the guy's Hall of Famer, he's Hall of Famer. That's it.
And the thing is, I looked into it. To be part of the Baseball Writers Association of America, besides having sand in your vagina and being a total douchebag about it, is that you have to write for a reputable newspaper, magazine, or valid
Approved
website
yeah.
That deals with sports. You have to write for that for over 5 years straight. And then you're in the Writers Association of America. That's it.
That's retarded.
That's it. And then there's a select group of 20 of those that make up the Veterans Committee. So you always hear about people getting in through the Veterans Committee and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It's a select group of those douchebags. So it's the ultimate douches of the douchebags. Like, it's the douches that collect more of the water.
It's the senior douche.
It is. But, enough of that. We got regular news that we're interested in. Matt Garza, Tampa Bay with their fire sale. Is it a fire sale?
No, it's just a disarming.
Tampa Bay is disarming. Matt Garza is going to the Cubs. I think Tampa Bay is doing a darn fine San Diego Padres impression.
It's not a fire sale.
They've gotten rid of Carl Crawford. Not gotten rid. They just let Carl Crawford go.
Right.
They let Matt Garza go. Rafael Soriano's not going to re-sign with Tampa Bay.
No.
David Price is your number one starter. Evan Longoria is your number one hitter. You've still got speed. You've still got youth. But you're taking away, one of your best starting pitchers. You're taking away one of the best closers in the game, and arguably your best hitter.
Right. But it's like you said, they have a strong farm system, and they're going to try to rely on that. They must know something that we don't.
Yeah, but you can't do that in the stacked AL East. The Yankees are looking up at the Red Sox right now. The Red Sox have WMDs on their roster.
Pretty much Bush would invade Boston.
Bush, I wish
if he still owned the Rangers, he would invade Boston.
I wish Bush would. I wish somebody would invade Boston and just tear them apart. But the Yankees are still a strong team. You've still got Rodriguez, Teixeira, Robinson Cano. You've still got power hitters.
They just have a hole in pitching right now.
They have a hole in pitching, but you still have CeCe Sabathia. You've got young Phil Hughes. You've got all these things going on.
No, you still have the team that went to the playoffs last year, that made a run.
But the thing is, so if you're Tampa Bay, you can't do that. Because now what Tampa Bay did, Tampa Bay's fighting for third place with Baltimore and Toronto.
Well, that's it, because Tampa Bay did not improve. Boston improved dramatically.
Absolutely.
Tampa Bay did not. They've disarmed. They've not made themselves better. And the Yankees, unfortunately, haven't really made themselves better, but they're still that same team.
Exactly. Right now, the Yankees' best hope at this point, I've had a little time to let it, sit and dwell. The Yankees at this point have to be fighting for the wild card.
Yeah, or they should be introducing Patriots to the 100 best NFL players. I had to do it. I'm watching on the NFL Network. They're doing the 100 greatest NFL players. Tubby is quiet. I broke his heart the other night. So I'm watching this. And on comes that they're going to introduce the number 21 best player of the top 100 in the NFL. It's going to be Tom Brady. And then each player is getting introduced by some kind of other famous person, sports star or something. The person that introduces a player from the Boston area, Tom Brady, is none other than the man love interest of Tubby, Derek Jeter.
Now let me set this up. So I'm sitting there. I'm not feeling too well. And the mole runs into my room and he's like, bro, come here. You got to look at this. Come here. I don't know if I'm in trouble. I haven't been talked to like that for a while. I don't know if I've done something wrong Did he find out that I've been crop dusting his room the whole time, and he finally got pink eye with his kids? Like, what happened?
Scott Baio has pink eye.
I got pink eye from Scott Baio. So I go into the living room. He goes, just listen. Just get ready, okay? Sit down, have a seat, get ready.
Well, I kind of gave him the setup. I go, hey, I'm watching on the NFL Network top 100 players. I go, they're running them down, and every top player is introduced by some kind of celebrity.
So then I see Derek Jeter come on, and knowing how much he was enjoying this, I knew that this wasn't going to be a pleasant experience. So right away, I'm thinking Tom Brady, and sure enough, you see the name. He comes up and he's like, number 21. Tom Brady. And he gets out, and I'm already getting up out of the chair, and I'm walking away.
Gone. I haven't seen the guy move that fast. Last time he moved that fast was the buffet at Round Table.
Well, dude, because at Round Table, you can get as much as you want.
Well, dude, when the buffet was closing at 1 o'clock, they're like, last call, 1 o'clock.
Well, dude, because you could get as much pizza as you want. That's the purpose of a buffet.
I just love that your man love crush, Derek Jeter, introduced, and he said, when I think of champions, the first name that comes to my mind is Tom Brady.
Moving on. So Adrian Beltre has signed with the Rangers. Michael Young is top notch, man. I loved watching Michael Young play when I was living in Texas. The guy's a gamer. The guy starts out at second base, and when the Rangers trade A-Rod to the Yankees for Alfonso Soriano, Soriano comes over and wants to play second base because he doesn't want to play outfield at the time. And Young was quick to move over to shortstop. Says, I'll switch over. Yeah, it's middle infield, but it's a different game, And he switches positions. He goes over to short, wins a couple Gold Gloves. So then when the Rangers get rid of Hank Blaylock and Elvis Andrus is coming up, they want Elvis Andrus to play shortstop, and they ask Michael Young to move to third base. Michael Young moves to third base because he wants to stay with the Rangers. Has no problem, doesn't demand to be traded, doesn't ask anything. Moves over to third base, wins Gold Glove over there. So now that Adrian Beltre's playing, his first thing that he says is, I'll go wherever they want me to go. I'll play wherever they want me to play because I want to stay here in Texas. So what they're going to do is they're going to use him as a DH, which means see you later, Vlad Guerrero. He's not coming back.
Right.
And then you have a guy that can fill in at third, short, second, first. I'm sure the guy's probably going to pitch a couple innings. He might catch. He's probably going to coach. And I think he's selling hot dogs in between the 7th and 8th inning.
At least.
At least.
The guy is a pro, period.
He's a class
pro,
act.
Classy. Takes you back to the days when, hey, I'm a Ranger, I was a Ranger, and I'm going to be a Ranger. And you know what? Spur of the moment, Arlie Ermy Award.
Arlie Ermy Award.
It's
Arlie Ermy. You get the Arlie Ermy Award, Michael Young, because you are the man. You are what baseball players should be. You're an all-star. You're a Gold Glove winner. You've deservingly gone to the World Series. He's led the league in batting. I mean, the guy just goes out there and performs. Michael Young, Arlie Ermy Award. You're the man.
There it is.
Other news. The Yanks, they're unsure about Marcus Timms, so they're talking to Andrew Jones about possibly coming over and filling in part-time in the outfield, part-time DH.
So he can stink it up on the East Coast like he stunk it up on the West Coast?
Well, and he was stinking it up in Chicago.
Well, the only thing he'll have going for him out there is there's no In-N-Out burgers to get fat at.
God, I would love an In-N-Out burger. Why do you always talk about food around me?
That's what you hear.
I don't talk about cancerous moles around you.
Well, I don't have a cancerous mole problem.
Have you ever had it checked?
Yeah, I have actually.
When? Hold on. When I asked you if you just had it tested, is that like when a girl asks you if you've been tested and you're like, yeah, no, totally, baby, I've been tested.
I don't get tested. I'm the guy. No, I've had it looked at, and as long as they're round, it's when they become unround is when they're a problem.
Well, what about when they're planet-sized?
As long as it's round.
Because you look like the Death Star is starting to creep up on the side of your face.
But it's not the incomplete one.
Well, so the Yanks are talking to Andrew Jones, but the big deal with the Yanks is that they're waiting on Andy Pettitte. Still waiting. Still unsure.
Well, it's crapper get off the pot. But there's no other pitchers out there right now.
There's not. The big names left are Rafael Soriano.
Unless he can start.
No, he's not going to start. The guy said that the only team he's willing to be a setup man for is for the Yankees. Whoever he plays for, he wants closer money, but he's willing to be a setup for the Yankees. But the Yankees, Cashman's already come out and said that they're not going to give up their number 1 draft pick by taking a Type A free agent. So right. that takes that out. Looks like the Yankees are going to go into the year with Jabba as their...
Ichuata Gonjeda Yankee. Jabba.
I know. I got the reference.
Okay.
I got the reference. So it looks like they're going with Jabba, or a collection of pitchers for their setup. It just sucks, man. I'm hoping the Yankees somehow are able to make a trade during the season. I'd like to see if maybe the Padres or the Rays have any other good players that they're just giving off. That'd be nice. But one of your guys, Red Torria, goes to the Reds. What do you think about that?
Who cares?
You don't care? The guy was the MVP.
He was the MVP. He was on.
You're wearing your San Francisco Giants World Series cap right now, and you don't care that the MVP that got you that is gone?
This is why I don't care. I have much love for Edgar. I do. I have some love for him. But the reality of it is, it's that Cincinnati's overpaying for him.
Actually, Cincinnati is going to pay him. Looks like about $1.5 million, but with bonuses, he can get up to $3 million.
And Edgar was on the DL 3 times last. He didn't play a full season. He's a backup infielder at best, and so the Reds can pay that much for him. Good for him.
Well, Derek Lee is going to Baltimore to waste away whatever little career he's got left. And LaRoche is signing with the Washington Nationals.
They're trying to make a move in the East.
They are. I mean, Jason Worthless is going to take them to that next level.
The only way that they're going to dethrone the Phillies is if Scott Boras can negotiate a championship away from them.
I'll tell you what, man. Strasburg is coming back. Bryce Harper, I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce Harper's playing in the majors at the end of the year. Next couple years, though, man, they've got some young talent. They're going to be looking good.
Well, we'll see, but newsflash.
And then the Yankees will get them.
Newsflash, the Phillies have won the NL East.
The news, this just coming across the Tubby and the Mole ticker. The Phillies have won the National League, and the Boston Red Sox have won the American League. Are we now using Morse code?
That's right. That's the teletype.
So, you got anything else on baseball?
No, that's about it for baseball.
Well, now we're going to run into the NBA. The Denver Nuggets are still trying to ship Carmelo Anthony. They're trying to ship him to the Nets. He wants out of Denver. He wants his max deal because it looks like the NBA is going to lock out. He wants to get that max deal signed before the lockout. So he's going to want his 3 years, $15 million a year or something like that.
So does the lockout happen?
Yeah, lockout happens. I don't believe a football lockout's going to happen, but I do believe that an NBA lockout's going to happen.
What's the diff? Why you don't think that?
Well, the NBA, they seem more gridlocked. The NFL, the Players Association, is trying to work together. These two, the NBA Players Association and the owners, are just at a standstill, and they're just both ready to flip off.
Wasn't there basically what they were saying? There's 8 NBA owners that are like losing money, period, and they're not going to budge because they're losing so much money.
Yeah, but it's like we've talked, man. These guys aren't really losing money.
No, I agree. I agree completely.
And the thing is you and I have talked about this. All these owners get together and talk about, oh, woe is me, we want a salary cap. All these owners should get together. If they're unanimous, then just don't pay them. Don't pay them those type of contracts. When your guy comes and says, I want to max out, it's because there's 1 or 2 owners that say, forget you, I'm going to take them.
So if the lockout happens, when's it going to start?
I think it's once the season's over, isn't it?
Is that what it'll be?
I think it's about 2 weeks after the season's over.
Gotcha. So,
players are trying to get these deals done beforehand. Understandably so, because they'll still get paid.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get paid a certain amount. If there's a lockout, nobody's getting paid. But the thing is that when they come back from the lockout, the numbers are going to be lower. So the salary cap is going to drop and things of that sort. Anybody that has a deal before then is going to be grandfathered in.
Yeah, I don't think the lockout happens in the NFL. I mean, in reality, you have to look at it. There is a pecking order in sports, and like it or not, the NBA is third in the order of sports right now. They took the place of horse racing and boxing, basically, from the day.
And hockey.
Hockey never really sat on the throne. Come on now.
Actually, that was poker that took the place of hockey.
Yeah, poker did. That was the NHL. Thanks for helping me learn Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, and you're not too bad. I'm better than you, but you're not too bad.
I'm just unlucky.
So you've got Carmelo looking to go to the Nets. It's going to take a lot of teams just because of the way the salary cap is structured. You may see a lot of teams get involved in this. But you know what? That just it helps the Lakers out. You take the Nuggets out of the West, and now they're not a competing team. It's one less team to stand in the way of the Lakers.
No one but the Lakers is a competing team.
Well, no, there are other competing teams. You have San Antonio. You've got Oklahoma City. You have these teams that can't compete. Right now, the Lakers' biggest competition is themselves. They're not performing to their own potential.
Well, they're in regular season Lakers playoff mode. Like I told you, in the Pacific, they can phone the Pacific in. They could really phone the Pacific in it, and you know that.
Well, they did lose Matt Barnes. He's out for a while. Matt Barnes has torn his meniscus, and he's going to have surgery on that. I tore the meniscus in my knee once, and I was out for a long time, but that's because I'm fat and lazy. This guy's a trained athlete. They can actually be back in a couple weeks from a torn meniscus.
Actually, they can be back before the tear. They can actually go back in time.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
They're such good shape.
They can. They can go back to when they were a baby, and they will get some of their own stem cells out of the womb, and they will put it with the other meniscus cells.
Actually, he's already available after surgery.
He played tonight.
Yeah.
But the big Laker news is Kobe Bryant passes Oscar Robertson for 9th on the all-time scoring list. Impressive seeing that Kobe's in his early 30s, but he's got a 4-year head start on a lot of people because he didn't go to college.
He came straight out of high school, so.
But he also played, the first 4 or 5 years of his career behind Shaquille O'Neal, who's sitting at number 5 on the list.
Right.
So he wasn't the leading scorer on the Lakers at the time. Next up is Hakeem Olajuwon. He's only a couple hundred points away from Hakeem. And then you've got Elvin Hayes and Moses Malone. If he scores about 1,000 points between now and the end of the season, he's going to take 6th place. And then next year he'll overtake Shaq because Shaq is on his last legs. But when asked about it after the game, Kobe was just nonchalant, man. Kobe's a black mamba. They were like, so what do you think about this? He's like, look, man, I'm more concerned about how many rings I got. Like, that's all. He doesn't want to talk about career scoring list. They were like, who would you like to pass? Because Jordan's number 3 on the list.
Be like, how many have they raped?
Wow.
Like, I don't care about points so much as raping.
I care about Wilt Chamberlain with how many women he's been with. But no, he said all he cares about are the amount of rings he has. He's chasing,
raping white women.
He didn't rape her. I'm sorry. Now we're going to take a timeout. You do not. Hold on. Okay. This is now a public service announcement for all the ladies out there. This is coming to you from Tubby. Tubby's going to tell you, ladies, if you are working at a hotel and at 4 a.m. you decide to go up to an NBA player's room and you say, hey, I'd like an autograph. Well, you know what that NBA player doesn't hear? Hey, I'd like an autograph. That NBA player says, hey, I'd like some nookie. So, to all you ladies out there saying, hey, I'm going to go knock on Kobe Bryant's door at 4 a.m, be prepared to give it up to Kobe Bryant.
Or he'll take it.
Or he will take it. It's like I heard on Family Guy once. Peter Griffin. Did you ever hear the line Peter Griffin said? It's like sex with Kobe Bryant. You can kick and scream all you want, but it's gonna happen.
You think him and Big Ben hang out? Like, hey, Big Ben, alley oop.
But Big Ben says, Kobe, why you take him into the room? Just take him in the bathroom. Get him drunk, take him in the bathroom.
Why you gotta have a room, man? Just take him in the bathroom.
Take him in the bathroom. I took her into the men's bathroom. That's dirty.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Like, I could even get it if he took her into the women's bathroom, because women's bathroom have like
a couch. Yeah, they have little primping areas.
They have like waiters and maids in there and stuff like that.
They don't have pee all over the floor.
They don't have pee, and no one kicks open their doors and writes hate stuff on the walls.
No one leaves the toilet of foam.
No one no one writes anti-Semitic and racist remarks. No one carves them. Nobody brings in a buck knife and carves them into the wall.
Women don't draw like pictures of vaginas.
You know what women don't do that men do? Women don't bring a Sharpie with them and tag on the inside of the toilet.
They also don't have pee shivers.
I don't get that. They can't pee standing up.
Well, they don't pee shiver.
They don't?
No, because I was tripping out on Frankie the other day. He was taking a leak and he had a pee shiver. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I asked my wife, I go, you ever get a pee shiver? She's like, what? You pee and shiver? No. So women don't pee shiver.
But that's just it. They don't pee standing up. I think that's...
You have to stand up to shiver?
I think so. Mm. Have you ever had the pee shivers while you were sitting down?
Well, maybe I'll just start peeing sitting down for a while. Find out if it's just
I don't... Well, no, because you know how, like, when you're... Okay, we're really getting into toilet humor, but it doesn't happen when you're sitting down.
Well, I'm pooping when I'm sitting down.
You don't also urinate when you're
Well,
pooping?
no, but the focus is poo.
But you do what you do. What do you stand up then when you're done?
No, you do, but
okay, and you don't get the shivers.
maybe.
Not maybe. What you do?
No, I'm just saying. But
Hey, can you take a look at this? Is this infected? What we're talking about?
does this smell infected?
This it kind of does. So with that, a couple big games coming up this week. Tomorrow you got the Knicks at the Lakers. Amari Stoudemire. The Knicks are hot, man. They're coming in. It should be a good game. I'm excited to see it. Thursday you got the Orlando Magic at the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got some friends in Oklahoma, and I can't stand how you lucky bastards have a sports team. I just don't get it. Oklahoma City, it boggles my mind.
Well, that's just like LeBron says. There's too many teams.
There's too many teams. What should I do? What should I do?
What should I do? Should we have like 12 teams?
He just came out saying that people are trying to say that because of everything going on. Now he's trying to say the increase in viewing of the NBA is not because of me going to the Heat. Now he's trying to sound like he's all humble and stuff. Bro, you've already talked about contraction. You did your ESPN, The Decision. Don't be humble
jerk.
enough. You're a douche. Friday we got the Dallas Mavericks at the San Antonio Spurs. The big German, the just big Aryan Nazi-looking German Dirk Nowitzki is out. So
this is like the Battle of Texas.
It is. It is
bragging rights.
Well, they call it the Texas Triangle because these teams, the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, and the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of teams when they take their road trips, they try and keep them all in areas. So like the Lakers will have to play all three of those, and they'll go through the Texas Triangle.
So do the Lakers step up and play the Knicks like it's playoffs?
I'm going to say that you're going to have a playoff caliber team in there, so I'm hoping that you see the playoff caliber Lakers. However, we saw what happened on Christmas Day against the Heat.
Right.
And that was sad. This is going to be a good test. The Lakers are winning. They're not really putting teams away, but they're winning. This is going to be a good test to see if they're finally starting to kick it into gear again. So hopefully we'll see what happens. But that's it with the NBA. Quick MMA news. Chuck the Iceman Liddell has retired from the UFC. He now has... I love when they give these guys these kind of jobs. He's the new vice president of business development. Now, I don't have a college degree. You don't have a college degree. Do you have a college degree?
I do.
What do you have a college degree in?
I have an associate's
in
emergency medical medicine.
You have an extended high school diploma.
I have completed 13th and 14th grade.
Yes. Okay. But you don't have a bachelor's, you don't have a master's, anything like that. With your degree, could you go into a multi-billion-dollar company and say I want to be VP of something?
I could go in there and say that, but they're not going to make me.
But they're not going to do it. Chuck Liddell, now here's the thing, Chuck Liddell does have a 4-year degree. He does have a 4-year degree, but he's been punching people in the face for the past 15 years of his life.
And he's been hitting people in the fist with his face.
And he is now the new vice president of business development for the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
You know, these are just figurehead positions. The NFL likes to do it. Major League Baseball, like the Giants brought Will Clark back as a liaison to hitting.
John
Elway's coming for the Broncos. They're just figurehead positions. They're bringing these guys back to say, hey, they're still part of the organization. And I don't know why they do these moves, but it's just a figurehead thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's an exciting guy to watch. The guy was constantly moving forward. Not one of these guys that wants to play around. The guy has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he
was the first legitimate MMA star.
He was the first legitimate, him and Tito Ortiz, but he was a guy that even though he had a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, never wanted to take the fight to the ground. You couldn't take Chuck Liddell down unless you got him down and pounded him out. Even though he could submit people, he wanted to stand up and slug. And that's what people wanted to see.
Right.
So with that, good guy, Chuck Liddell. Love watching him fight. It's going to be sad to see him go. But, I'm glad that he's staying in some form or fashion with the UFC. And you never know, man. It may be one of those situations where he comes back. I think we've learned in sports that nobody is ever really retired.
No, maybe Jose Canseco will fight him.
Oh, Jose Canseco. Let's get to celebrity tweets. The big one we've got is Jose Canseco. A couple. First off, yesterday he says, I am still testing those anti-aging products. I'll let everybody know soon if they work or not.
He's tweeted before that supposedly genetically we're built to live 120 years.
That
He believes this. This guy's a weirdo.
My thing is that if Jose Canseco is testing drugs, are you really gonna trust him?
But these anti-aging drugs are overrated.
They're overrated. You don't need anti-aging drugs to not age.
This guy to me is jumping from douche to weirdo.
You know what? It is. He's starting to get the. I think we're gonna have to come up with like a. What's the Dateline NBC? He's gonna get the To Catch a Predator award.
To Catch a Weirdo.
Not To Catch a Weirdo. Not because he's gonna do something to kids. Because the dude's just weird. Like I would avoid Jose Canseco if I saw him at the mall.
Oh, for sure.
Because I'd be like, wow, Jose Canseco would be one of those guys who would want to talk too much to the fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then ask you for a ride to his car, but his car's at his buddy's house. He took the bus there for some reason. You know, just random. But before then, on New Year's Eve, he goes with his girlfriend. There's this baseball player. I don't know his first name, but it's F.P. Santangelo. I think it's like Frank Paul or something like that. A no-name baseball player. He was part of the Mitchell Report. Bounced around for a couple teams and stopped playing like 2001, 2002. Now, the thing is that he gets upset at the Playboy Mansion. He's there with his girlfriend. He tweets right before and he says, at the Playboy Mansion with my girlfriend Layla, Happy New Year, blah, blah, blah. Then right after midnight, hey, Santangelo, how'd you like getting kicked out of the Playboy Mansion? I hope your wife knows you're there with 2 girls in trunk.
When's a snitch? Always a snitch.
Snitches get stitches, man. How are you going to constantly rat people out?
He can't stop it. He's addicted to ratting out people.
I think you got it right. He's a dick, but that's just brutal,
He's
dude.
addicted to ratting people out.
That guy can't stop telling. Tattletale.
He is. He's a tattletale.
Tattletale, dude. Tattletale.
Mrs. Wilson, yes, little Jose.
It just gets to me, man. Like, just let it go, bro. You're out. Nobody likes you. I get it, but just let it go.
Straight to weirdo.
Also wanted to get into a tweet that we had. You know, Ocho Cinco's always good for some tweets. The guy's a character, but he's talking about all of these playoff games going on, and you gotta dig it. The guy just realizes that he's so excited. He didn't know why the Seattle game was being played in Seattle, seeing that New Orleans had a better record. And he said, you're going to have to forgive me because I don't play in many playoff games, so I don't really know how the playoff schedule works. You just got to like it, you know?
Well, you catch some of these players, they talk to these, in all sports, you catch them in these candid talks, and they really don't know. You know what? They say they don't know about standings and stuff. Some of them really don't know what's going on in the league.
Right.
They're just focused on their game, and that's it. Or they just... I don't know how you're in the league that long and you don't know how the playoffs work.
Well, but I think he brought up a good point. He hasn't been to the playoffs in so long, he doesn't really know the format. But, hey, there you have it. What else you got, Mole?
Goodbye.
Wow, that's impressive. We will be coming at you guys at the midweek to talk about a couple things, just about how the football ended up. Anything new real quick, but glad that we got you guys back. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook if there's anything that we're missing. If there's a team you want us to talk about, if you got your favorite team out there, let us know and we'll dog on them for you, because if they're any good, we'd be talking about them already.
We'll find out something bad about them.
There you go. So peace out and stay sexy.
Bye-bye.